Alrighty, welcome ladies and gentlemen. We have a special match between Special Raiders and Red Alerts Gaming. I'm Minifigi and joining me today is Catalyst, and we're in for a treat today.
Yeah, everybody, thanks so much for tuning in as always. Happy Saturday to all of you. We have a wonderful European matchup, as Fiji has said, between the Special Raiders and RAG. Both teams loading in right now. Did have some technical difficulties beforehand, but we've received word that both the teams are getting their players that were missing in, and we should be along shortly. And we are in a treat for this first match because we are on the map Rupture, and it is not a popular map in any stretch of the imagination. So something a little new and refreshing here, Fiji, for map 1, and I'm going to be interested to see how this map plays out because I've truthfully only played this map once myself in a competitive setting.
I've yet to see this map played in a competitive setting, nor play it myself in a competitive setting, so it'll be interesting to see what the teams do and how they tackle getting up to the B flag, especially with the giant river in between.
Well, I can tell you from this first point, for this, in terms of this first point, whoever is taking this point, if it's going to be the squad that spawns on, I'm not quite sure. I'm going to assume this is the seaside of the river. Crossing this river is probably one of the most difficult tasks in any Frontlines match that you can possibly conjure up. It is extremely difficult, especially because there's either just a slew of mud or water on any way you want to slice it. So if the C team does take over, and I believe that would I'm going to see which side that is here momentarily. I think that might be SRDS who is spawning on that side. They're going to have to find a way to get across that river. But the B point is very peculiar in the fact that It's on a hill, and one team is going to have some high ground immediately, and one team is going to have the low ground immediately. So it's probably going to be up to the guys in RAG to be able to get up the hill and get on the point and get posted up before SRDS can do anything about it.
Alrighty. So looks like we're gonna have a 35-minute start time, and they just need to restart the server. And then we'll be able to get the
And
ball
following, yeah. And following Rupture, we have Amiens, a very popular map, a very claustrophobic and very chaotic map. So that's going to be a nice contrast in comparison to this first map, which is a lot about the sniper game, a lot about which team's meta game is a little bit better because of that advanced range that the meta class brings. So it's going to be a nice contrast in maps here. And I think the third map is Prise de Tahure, which is another city map, which I have not personally had experience on, but it will be definitely interesting, I think, if we go to a map 3 to see how that plays out as well.
Yeah, if we manage to get to all 3 maps, we'll have 2 maps that are very unpopular in the scene right now. So we'll be able to pretty much see the forefront of innovation in regards to the tactics people will use on these maps, which I'm pretty pumped for.
I don't know about you, but we call it getting screwed by the bot, the random Frontlines bot that we have in the Discord. Just got to offer a blood sacrifice to the bot to make sure you don't get any of these maps, but unfortunately, well, at least Rupture, somebody picked Rupture willingly, so I'm not sure who picked that, but hey, if they have a strategy to win on this map, go for it. I'm excited to see it, but as far as Priest to her is, that's a random bot pick if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see where their tanks go, because the team that spawns, I'm not sure what team it is, that spawns on the backside here that's closer to B, it seems like they have a little bit of a starting advantage, but then as soon as you go to the A flag, you have to cross over that giant river again. So we'll have to see how they play this giant river. It's pretty much gonna determine the match, I feel.
Yeah, so the team on the seaside, which should be RAG, now that the sides have swapped, I'm gonna look for their tank to kind of go straight into the point here, find a nice suitable position on one of the mounds on this side of the hill, not going too far on to the bridge area over to this right flank. I'm expecting that tanker to be somewhere in a position where he can kind of creep over this hill and put some shells on this main point in the trenches here and kind of keep SRDS out, which to their strategy would probably remain close quarters in the trenches if they can help it and wait for their tank to spawn, because I do believe that the RAG tank does get there a little bit faster.
I think it does get there a little bit faster too, and it'll have depending on where it positions, it'll be able to cut off part of the SRDS reinforcements coming down into the river. But there is a lot of trenches inside this B objective that you can capture, and it kind of favors, the cap zone at least, favors the A side of the map. So as long as they can get into they'll be fine.
Yeah, I think the way that SRDS is going to attack this point is they're going to try to take the flanks immediately. If you're going to try to go up on this downsloped hill through the trenches, you're going to get choke point in. So expect to see a couple of squads on each side, either going to this bridge side here, trying to maybe get an early kill on the tank, or maybe another squad heading up more towards this side of the river on this left side, trying to get around, because the trenches can be a death trap, and whoever can get above the trenches and potentially take out that tank first is probably who's going to be able to take this middle objective. As we get another reset here, which will probably lead to another reset after this. I think the teams were having some trouble getting on the correct side. They weren't all sticking to the same side, so a little bit of some technical difficulties. I don't know why this always seems to happen with us, Fiji, but we will get this match started as soon as we can.
I'm not sure. It's just a string of luck. People, last time it was the PSN servers going down. This time it's just Battlefield being Battlefield. So we'll definitely have to work through the delays and get it started as fast as we can.
So knowing what we know about SRDS Fiji, they are a very resilient team. The last match that we casted together, we saw them with a very last-minute comeback against CH on Fort de Vaux, which was an exhilarating watch. If you have the time in the stream and you want to go revisit that, I encourage you to do so, because for much of that map, SRDS and CH were going back and forth between the B objective and then the A objective, and it was a tug of war, really. And then they just broke through, and it was an incredible last-minute match, and they are a very resilient team. They are a little bit more experienced, however. They've played about a total of 16 T16 and T20 matches, and they've only lost 2 from what we know, so they are very experienced. They are very hardened and a veteran team. And then you have a team like RIG here, who is only a platoon of only 2 to 3 months of age. So they're going to be here to try and figure out where they want to move the platoon forward, and if they can hang competitively with some of these great European teams.
Yeah, it's definitely a long-lasting team versus one of the fresh teams into the scene. With them being so young, both of them do have the same roots of starting up from a couple of friends and building it up, and everyone seems to be trying to show everyone how strong they are in Tier 1, especially with this qualifier and trying to get onto the World Finals for this. It'll definitely bring some tight competition.
And it looks like the main issue right now is that the teams are being mixed together. There must be a missing server setting that they forgot to turn on, in which the teams are not scrambled pre-round, and that's causing a lot of the issues right now, as well as the fact that they need to be on the correct side. So, as we said, another server reset is potentially coming, and eventually, if this doesn't work itself out, we're probably just going to have to force them to go.
Yeah, we always don't want to do that, but it does look like they're shuffling to get everyone on the right team. From what I'm hearing, it's going to be a 35-minute start, so it's about a minute and a half, 2 minutes till we get that rolling. And hopefully it goes smoothly from here and no more shenanigans, if you call it.
And it looks like RAG is missing their final player. I don't know if he's still coming into the server or if he is a no-show at this point, but at this point you have to think that it's a 35 start no matter what, unless these teams are on their incorrect sides, which we could check really quickly, but they might be.
Have to check on that. Not seeing anything.
So if all goes to plan, about 45 seconds till we can finally get some amazing Frontlines action here in the 100 Days Offensive World Qualifier. Again, these are 2 European teams, one young, one old, but both really excited and ready to get into some action here. 30 seconds away now. Again, I think this first point, Fiji, is going to come down to whose tank can get here faster and create the most impact. And I do believe that will be the German Empire side. So that is SRDS's tank right now, since they were able to switch back on this side. So it's going to be up to RAG to be able to get into these trenches and get posted up before that tank gets there.
Yeah, this map definitely gives a good opportunity for them to use the assault tank with the pigeon strikes, especially with how many crevices and trenches there are. If they get the tank in the right spot and they call it down, it'll definitely open up a large portion of the map. And it does look like we started at 35.
And it does look like, again, they have started, and RAG is down a few players, and it looks like SRDS is going to get to this point first. I'm jumping on with Mohammed Karobi here, one of the main assault players for RSDS, and just a fantastic impact in his last game versus CH, one of the main slayers for this team. as he and his squad are going for a right flank as Floppy gets taken out. Muhammad doesn't realize he has a full squad heading his way and gets absolutely mowed down there. RAG covering that flank well to begin, but it looks like SRDS has gotten into this point first and has been able to set up, or post up rather, and they're clearing the rest of RAG off this point as SRDS's tank has arrived and RAG's tank is crossing the river as we speak.
So it looks like both teams did elect to pick the heavy tank. And the Rags tank is running into a squad and a half, pretty much, of the SRDS team. And it looks like they're going to try to pop them up.
Yeah, RAG does seem to get a few spawns off, and they were able to clear out that entire squad. Sorry to interrupt you, Fiji. That was a great play on the spot of RAG, just almost like a Trojan horse, if you will. RAG and Dejo and their tank just able to push up onto the point and get their players out, as this SRDS tank is really pushed up. I did not expect him to be that far into this point. If RAG can get a couple of assaults on the field and some 18 nades or some dynamite, that tank is toast. But for now, SRDS's tank and Assassin are pushing off Dejo and the rest of RAG.
Does look like SRDS is getting a slight lead. SRDS is trying to push up towards Rag's tank. They do have a couple repair guys on both sides, and it just seems like SRDS is using the tank a little bit better with how the positioning is compared to Rag's tank. It does look like both tanks are disabled.
I think the aggressiveness of SRDS's tank is going to pay off. Ooh. Oh, wow. Rewind the record. That was a bad call on my part. SRDS's tank just went from 100 to 0 in about 3.5 seconds. Great work by RAG to take out that tank, and I did say earlier that I felt that that tank was way too pushed up and that it would backfire, and it ended up doing so, as Dejo is returning to the front door of RSDS saying, "I'm back, guys. What are you going to do about it?"
So with their tank going down, that's one of the major spawn points for SRDS going down, and it's looking like Rag is getting embedded inside these trenches, and it's just getting the defensive position and forcing SRDS to run through the open fields to be able to get onto the flag.
Lots of smoke being used on this first point here, Fiji. Didn't really think that that would be much of a factor going into this, but it looks like, I'm not quite sure who has been throwing the smoke. I do believe it's RAG, but it's been a willing part of their strategy so far, and I think it's throwing SRDS off a little bit.
It does look like SRDS has a good flank coming on the back here. Let me jump in first person here, see how effective it is, and it seems whenever I jump first person on someone, then they die instantly, so...
Eblau getting a kill and a revive, getting 2 revives. Harassed is now in the mix, trying to take on 2 of them, and his tags get taken. I think that's Karagrad that just gave him with the Yatagan sword. Gave him an old 1-2, as RAG being able to take out SRDS's tank and being able to push them back here on this first point. A little bit of a slow start from SRDS, but if you know anything about this team, and from what we've watched in the past, is that slow starts mean nothing, especially in Frontlines. It's a game of momentum, and things could change at the snap of a finger.
It looks like SRDS did elect to pick up 2 cavalry along with the spawning of their tank, so they're probably going to use that to harass Rag's tank and try to draw it away from the objective.
I think it's going to be very important to see if Assassin learned from his quote-unquote mistake the last time, whether he's going to stay back off the point or he's going to go further in. And it looks like he's found a bit of a medium right now. He's probably going to try to go behind this house and take out the squads of RAG that have been trying to get in it. He's rolling straight up to the door, and it looks like he is going to be able to get a few kills. It looks like the remaining assault players... Oh, well, the remaining assault players are not remaining anymore, as RAG does have an assault behind the tank, but one person isn't going to do anything, especially with people spawning right on that tank. Men and Fury getting a kill on that assault player and getting 2 revives, and SRDS is up in numbers here on this C point so far.
And it just looks like SRDS is hiding back in the buildings, and Rag needs to really blow up some of the buildings to destroy their cover so they can push up. But with Rag bunching up like this, they're very vulnerable to some dynamite being tossed and eliminating pretty much their entire team.
Yeah, Dijo in that tank is trying to make a hard push around the flank, taking out the building.
And this look like SRDS does have Wee Maniac behind. And he did get one dynamite off.
And it does look like Assassin is aware that Dijo is on the other side of this house formation here. He's trying to find it, but it's kind of hard. Easier said than done with all that smoke, as it's coming into another tank battle, and whoever wins this battle will probably end up taking this point.
It does look like SRDS has had 2 repairmen. One went down. So both teams have 1 repairman with a little bit of infantry in between.
And Assassin is going to have to back way up, as well as Dijo, who is sliding himself down the mountain. And I think the reason that RAG is winning these tank battles so far is that they're using the tank as a spawn point, and all the assault players on the side of SRDS with rocket guns and dynamite are being taken out by those people spawning on RAG's tank. And that's what's been able to keep Dijo in that tank alive so far. It doesn't matter how many repairmen you have if you keep getting taken out by the people spawning out of the tank, as Muhammad and Illyria are starting to come after this tank, getting a couple of AT rocket shot. Wee Maniac is there as well. Payne, the medic, coming behind him, trying to find the remaining people in the house as Muhammad gets taken out by Fedorov, and Illyria is taken out by Dejo in that tank. Payne's looking for a couple of revives. He gets a kill in there along with Wee Maniac, and Michael is trying to get some shots on the tank as well, and Assassin is coming right back up and trying to get the kill shot.
And it does look like Rag has a couple people hidden inside the buildings, and they do get taken out. And SRDS is doing a large push on the river side of this map and just flushing out all of Rag, because it seems like Rag and SRDS really like these 2 little buildings here. So it's forcing Rag to go to the outskirts of the capture area.
And that play by Assassin was actually really smart. All he really wanted to do there was to be able to push Dijo off the point as best as he could. It wasn't really a show of aggression to try to take him out. He just wanted the tank off the point so he can get his guys a little bit more cover, a little bit more maneuverability in order to get back into these houses, post up, and take this point back.
It does look like Rag has a little bit of a flank going on both sides, and it's kind of pincering the tank back and getting the repairman to be cautious of how much they're sticking out around the back. And Rag is taking most of the objective and push SRDS off. If they set up correctly, it'll force all of SRDS to run through the open fields and give the opportunity for the light machine gun players to mow them down.
We spent a lot of time on this point, Fiji. A very, very highly contested point has really gone back and forth.
Yeah, this is starting to look like the last game for SRDS. It's going to start going back and forth, but this is probably the most contested objective I've seen in a long time in the Frontlines tournament. It seems like these teams are very well balanced and even. And it's very much coming down to the tank battles.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. So when you have teams that are this evenly matched, it really relies on who can keep their tank tank alive rather the longest, because that tank not only offers a lot of damage per second and attack support, it really also serves as a spawn point to get the guys back into the battle as fast as possible without having to spawn on your squad mates there. So it looks like Dijo is on fire and smoking like it's 1920s, as he's going to have to back all the way up. His repairman, Palvinho, is on him and getting some repairs in, and it looks like Assassin has settled on a nice spot above the point and is about to hammer the remaining of RAG behind those buildings as Tactical. That is a hard name to say. I went sliding in there attempting to go, and I slid straight into a wall with that name. You can't do it all. These names are hard to see, folks.
And it does look like Rag's tank positioning is good for stopping SRDS from coming down the hill, but as soon as SRDS gets on the flag, the heavy tank from Rag can't really do much. So he might need to work on that position, or alert the assault players and medic players that are in the close quarters of where they're running in, so they can push them all off the flag.
Yeah, it really is a weird spot, because he does have the advantage of he can just roll back down the hill and basically cease the barrage that's coming at him, but once he does that, he's basically nowhere near the point to help his guys out. I'd like to, me personally, if I was in the tank, I'd rotate more over to the high ground, over to his right there, and try to kind of mimic what Assassin is doing in RSDS's tank.
Yeah, it just looks like each team is just trying to get a little flank on the tanks and just throwing 1 or 2 bodies out, and every time that they do that, the flag neutralizes again. So both teams are very much weighing the flanks highly just to have an opportunity to wipe all these people off out of these buildings and possibly kill the repairman on these tanks.
That name I was going for before was Tactico Croatico. Say that 5 times fast when you're at the end of a sentence. that was doomed to fail from the start on my part.
Yeah, there's definitely a couple names that are a mouthful to read off the first time quickly. It's every part of this match is a treat.
Whether it's from us messing up or from this amazing battle that we've had so far, I always love these battles that focus on the one point, because it really, over time, it really develops into a game of strategy more than just pure gun skill, and whoever can get that strategy incorrectly, either taking out the tank or putting in that one flank that puts your team over it, as it looks like SRDS has done. They're over on the other side of that hill, trying to close off that spawn from the people coming from across the river.
It looks like Rag's tank did fall down off that little ledge, and I don't know if he can drive all the way back up there. He's going to have to zigzag up as SRDS manages to capture that flag. The tank falling off seems to be their downfall on that flag.
Yeah, he seems to be in a pretty precarious position, although he is able to get up back the mountain. It's going to impact him getting back and getting set up in that tank. It looks like Thopi 96 and the tank squad is going to be going under the bridge, trying to get behind him. At least I believe so. Thopi clearing up, or excuse me, that was Anstar, I believe, clearing up. Lucho, the only remaining player from Rag near this point. Yeah, it does look like Thopi and Men of Fury are going to try to get up on this bridge here, take out the sniper. Thopi says, "Hello, how you doing?" Takes out Dirty Sanchez without much trouble, as RAG has lost their sniper.
And it looks like Rag has very good defensive position, where SRDS is opting to go for multiple angles of attack here and keeping the people from Rag guessing on which trench they're going to be running through.
Mohammed running into Kirigrad, taking him out. Just sees another one there, takes him out as well. That's Sezonsil. Mohammed behind this tank, trying to take out Pavlo. He does so. He is behind the tank. If he does have some dynamite, which he does decide to throw out, and the tank makes quick work of that.
It was almost a golden opportunity.
That flank has still seemed to work, though. Men and Fury coming in and a couple of RAG guys getting in and out of the way, trying to get some shots on as a cavalry unit has been deployed. Final Gamer, I don't know if he got one, as Craig Barron got a 4-piece with the Fedorov there.
Looks like SRDS is very much bunched up, and someone gets a triple kill with a grenade on Rag and just completely mopped up SRDS on this B flag. And the flankers from SRDS are really going to have to put in their work now with how much of SRDS got killed off there.
You do have to give SRDS credit, though. They have kept this back flank alive, and there's been a couple times where I thought that they were going to get wiped out completely, but they were able to get some spawns back in, and I think that's partly due to Men and Fury, who really understood the fight-or-flight situation, and he chose to flight and come back and fight another day, as SRDS still has numbers behind him, and that longevity and that resiliency is going to neutralize the flag and start to get some time on the flag for SRDS.
It did look like Rag managed to AT rocket the heavy tank down with some close assault players right next to SRDS's tank, so Rag will now have the tank advantage for at least the time being, and that's a valuable spawn.
Do they have their tank? I don't see RAG's tank.
I don't see it, but I didn't see it die.
Let me see where, if Assassin is currently in respawn, so I think he went down as well. So both the tanks are out on this point now, and now it becomes a pure game of infantry and gun skill here. Super Datley firing off some flares, trying to identify where SRDS is. Able to get a nice cheeky pistol kill, but he's about to run into a full World War Z wall of SRDS there.
Does look like it. Rag does have a sniper up on the hill here, nice and secluded, and SRDS does see him finally, and he was giving some good flare support to spot out all the people on SRDS. Looks like SRDS is managing to get all of these trenches cleared out for the most part right as Rag's tank comes in. So there's going to be a big push from Rag, especially with B almost being captured. So they need to get some bodies on here to stop the capture and hopefully don't lose their tank here with how aggressive it's going on here in front of these assault players.
Intense battle indeed in those trenches as Muhammad gets a couple kills and gets taken out by Marinak.
It's a lot of close quarters battles here, and it's definitely coming down to the gun skills for a lot of these players. As you can see, these
gun skill and who has the better numbers, as it looks like RSDS is probably going to be able to get the better of this push as they do, and they are going to have to cross this river here. I thought for a moment that RAG had done it for a second time this match, where they had all spawned on the tank and were able to get their numbers out and able to overwhelm SRDS, but for the meantime it looks like RSDS does have their control, and they are going to have an advantage because their tank is going to be spawning in very soon.
That is very true, and it does look like Rag has some people still on the B flag and is cutting off all the reinforcements from SRDS. So that'll definitely lower the numbers on the flag.
Dijo in a precarious spot right now, but I think he is safe because there aren't that many enemy assault players nearby. This is a tough point to play as a tanker because there is no real advantage point that you have that can keep you close enough to the objective. So it's really going to be down to the repairman of either side to be able to keep their tank alive the most.
It's almost as if with this flag you have to use it to stop the reinforcements and not really do much to the people on the flag. You can't, it's too much of a risk to put your tank 2 feet from the flag to be a hot spawn point with how many trenches there are. Looks like SRDS is...
I really think the best...
Go ahead.
I really think the best way to overlook this point is really just to do a huge bird's eye view, because it's hard to realize all the trenches and the nooks and crannies that you can be hiding in, and you just see as SRDS is completely teamed wiped off the point, as looks like SRDS's tank is just hit a pothole and about spun out GTA style.
It does look like SRDS is having a little squad bomb going on in this back trench here, and they're going to do an attack from 2 to 3 different angles here, and it does look like Rag is onto them on this little back flank here, but the Rag's tank does go down.
In trouble, and Dijo goes down. I believe that was Eblau with a dynamite kill. Great play on the side of SRDS. Although they did lose that point, they were able to take out RAG's tank, which has been, in my mind, their greatest challenge so far on this map.
Yeah, it seems that whenever a tank goes down, it gives the other team a large opportunity to push and wipe everyone off the objective and give them a great advantage defensively. And most of the time, it ends up in a flag being captured.
Now RAG has a big task ahead of them, because now they do have to climb from the low ground on this river, and although it's not the easiest thing to be able to peek over these trenches and get those kills, it's definitely an easier position for SRDS to maintain and hold, as Muhammad and Payne are going on the side, and Payne gets taken out, Muhammad takes out him. And Assassin has a fantastic position up on this hill now. He can basically pelt whoever he wants from on top of this hill, as I don't see RAG coming anywhere close to capturing this point unless they get a flank off here.
No, not with their tank being down. They don't have a safe way to cross this river with how dug in SRDS is here. It's just proving that defensive positions on Frontlines are hugely important and vital to this game mode.
It does look like REG does have a little bit of a push going on this right side, or excuse me, yeah, this left side near the bridge, as Bozo is able to take out somebody with Automatico. He's going to rush up and find Wee Maniac, and Wee Maniac's going to take him down. Wee Maniac putting on some fire with the ribbe roll on Krogabird. Oh, man. Stick to NA names, please, for the NA casters.
So there's a little back flank with some rag players. There's 2 assaults and a medic, so depending on how close they can get to this heavy tank, it'll be pretty big if they can blow it up without SRDS knowing that they're back here.
And it does look like RAG's tank has just respawned, so I was going to say the only chance that SRDS really, I'm not going to say the only chance, that's a bit of a presumptuous statement there, but the better chance that SRDS could take this point was if they can get set up rather, before Dijo could get back and get set up on the tank. And it does look like there is a back flank here with Wee Maniac and Blau coming in. Don't think Rag knows that they're there quite yet. Wee Maniac maybe waiting for spawns, maybe to get a dynamite, at least take out the repairman. He is able to take out the sniper there, and he is all alone. I don't know if the tank knows he's there yet. Well, if he doesn't, he does now, as he's able to get at least 1 dynamite off. But now RAG is swarming, and Wee Maniac is stuck in between a rock and a hard place, and unless backup comes right now, which it does not, he's taken out by Sergeant Tade.
And the hit squad from SRDS from Rag was effective in taking out SRDS's tank. They surprised the tanker and just completely tore him apart with the 4 assaults that attacked him. So Rag will have the tank advantage here, although he is in a little bit of a precarious place because he is within range of AT grenades from most of the SRDS players.
This has been a fantastic map and a fantastic battle so far. What do you think, guys?
I think this is...
What's the chat think about this?
It looks like there's a little bit of discussion about Ballroom Blitz, but I'm pretty pumped for this map so far. It's
yeah, this has definitely been one of the better maps that I have seen so far.
It's almost like Sinai Desert in the open aspect and the tank gameplay that's in it. It gives a different style of play compared to Amiens.
Yeah, the tank is always important, but certain maps like Rupture and Amiens and Sinai that do emphasize that tank gameplay really gives a different perspective from obviously the infantry-only maps, but other maps like, let's say Suez, which is, I think, in my mind, a little bit more of an infantry-based map. Whoever gets a little bit more control with their gun skill generally wins that map. As RAG and their tank is able to clear off what's left of RSDS on this point as we are heading back across the river to this B objective here. It's going to come down to the wire, I think, Fuji. Whoever can get this last cap on the B point. Doesn't seem like these caps are going easily. It does. I do think they have been taking some time. So it's definitely going to be whoever caps this, I think.
I definitely agree. With how long it's been taking to capture B, I don't think any teams are going to try to do anything cheeky to time it so they'll win with a minute or 2 left. I think it's going to be a full-on fight the entire time.
And it does look like Assassin is back first with their tank. Oh, no. I don't think Dijo ever died. Excuse me there. But it does look like SRDS is going to get their tank to the point first as Dijo is taking a backcountry detour. No, excuse me. It looks like Muhammad is taking over in the tank.
And it does look like...
as he is running... He's running straight across the bridge.
SRDS
no repairman.
stole
This
Rag's
is going to be an
tank.
interesting strategy. Oh, you
No,
think
they
so?
did. SRDS has 2 tanks now.
Oh, they did.
So...
Well, Muhammad going GTA 5 mode, just completely Grand Theft Autoing RAG's tank, and he is taking it back to the garage for some tune-ups, I imagine here. As Thopi gets a spawn off. That in my mind, I didn't see it go down, and I wish I had. That seals the game for RSDS, in my opinion.
That is a game changer.
Because Muhammad is just, Muhammad is just going to drive this tank as far away as possible. I don't know why. I don't know, but I don't know that I would drive it all the way back in that situation. I think I'd use it to just pound the other team on the point, even if it does get destroyed. they are not getting their tank back
Yeah,
soon.
for how long the respawn time is, I would probably jump out, suicide, switch to support with a repair tool, and then just be a makeshift tanker. You won't have the perks, but at least you'll be able to repair by yourself.
And it does look like Muhammad is now running a 5K to get back to this point in time to help his team out, but I don't think they're really going to need it, as RAG without their tank has not really put up much of a fight so far, although with their tank they have been a fantastic opponent for our SDS here, and this has been a fantastic match, but that was just a fantastic and almost nuclear play on the side of SRDS to be able to get their tank there.
That is huge, and now SRDS does have the advantage going to the next flag. They have a 2-tank advantage, if you will. And it just looks like SRDS is cleaning up all of RAG running into this this A flag. Sorry.
No, like I said, like I've been saying, it was a great play to get that second tank, but disposing of it, I didn't quite agree with, and I think it's going to pay off or not pay off on this point here, seeing that RAG might get their tank back in time to be able to defend this point, but if they don't, I think SRDS would look back on this and say, yeah, having both tanks there would have been a definite wash, and they might have gone to MCOMs, I think.
I do agree that leaving the tank back there was not the play. Even if you get one of your secondary tankers or even a pub tanker, it'll be a lot more effective. That's 2 spawn points. That's 2 tanks that all their assault players have to go after, and it's just, I don't think that is the optimal play, but with SRDS in the lead, it must be the proper play.
Michael and Thopi over trying to find Dirty Sanchez, who has switched off scout since, and it looks like SRDS is taking over one of these bunkers over here, trying to get some spawns on, and Michael taking out a few people there, Muhammad getting taken out as well.
It slowly looks like SRDS is winning the game of attrition on this flag. They're slowly picking away all of the RAG players before they can squad respawn.
And now the tank for SRDS has finally arrived. It was kind of lurking on the river side of the point over there, trying to get their spawns off correctly, and now it looks like SRDS, the movement is coming on in, taking out the remainder of RAG, who only has a cavalryman and a support player on the point, but it does look like they have gotten their tank back, and the counter push is coming. About 5 or 6 players on the side of RAG coming to take over this point. Dirty Sanchez switching back to sniper, trying to get some flares off and some shots. Dijo taking out somebody in the bunker, didn't quite catch who that was. But now Dijo is in a precarious spot because he's going to have to basically surf the trenches here to get anywhere close to this point, and he does also have to worry about Assassin in the other tank.
It looks like RAG is managing to push all of SRDS off the flag as soon as their tank came in. And it's just proving how valuable the spawn point is.
And I think that's been the story of this match, Fiji. It's how strong the tank play of RAG, except for losing their tank that last go-around, has been superior to SRDS's tank play. Although, when both tanks are gone, I do think that SRDS does have the advantage when it comes to gun skill and positioning. And it looks like Dijo got stuck in the trench, and that might spell doom, as Men of Fury
another tank
again catches the tank. But that didn't last nearly as long as the last time that happened, and they can't pull the pull the tank away. Fatal mistake there by the side of Dijo. Really the only mistake that he's made all match on the side of RAG.
Yeah, it's definitely very tricky with these trenches to try to back up and not get stuck, even for these very professional tankers. You just back up in the wrong direction, you hit a pothole, and then boom, you're stuck and someone runs in with TNT. And it does look like SRDS managed to get the flag, so they will be pushing towards the telegraphs.
the way to attack these telegraphs, and they do have enough time to win this game and like really win this game, not win by capture. You attack B first. The trenches here, the out of bounds areas are very spread out, so you do have the ability to go all the way around and attack from behind, and that's what I would opt to do if I were in the shoes of SRDS. Get their tank as more of a distraction and move their players in through the trenches. And it looks like, let me see here, it looks like Kevin, Jokes, and Matt are all on this left side here. I do not think that RAG has spotted them yet, but there's a full batch, or full squad rather, of players as well as the tank coming to this B position, and they're about to run into Dijo, who is on this point all by himself almost.
And it looks like only one person is there, the Dijo, and he's in a pretty good spot, but as soon as he gets spotted out, I think he'll go down. But that is a mean artillery strike right next to the objective, and SRDS does manage to get the plant off.
Dijo playing God mode there. I don't know how the SRDS didn't spot him, but he eventually was found out, as RAG is now just going to enclose around this point and get a defuse. Although it does look like, I'm not quite sure if they're getting a plant on the other bomb. There are players here, but they're kind of hiding from one another as Muhammad gets a few spawns on him. Men of Fury throws some dynamite, probably gets a hit marker or so. He's going to try and go for the plant, and I don't think... Oh, what a sneaky play there from Muhammad, and he gets a kill as well. A two-piece there, as eventually he is swarmed there as himself, but...
Rag's tank is back up, so that'll definitely help with these diffusing attempts and stopping SRDS from planting, because they can just lob rounds at the telegraphs, completely thwarting their push.
And that's funny, Fiji, because whenever it seems like SRDS is about to put their foot on the gas and put a close on this game, RAG, one thing that you can say about them is they have been extremely resilient in this match, and you really need to give them all the props in the world, because it's either their tank comes back in and they're able to get a final push on the point and take everybody out, or their infantry just overwhelms and encapsulates, captures rather, SRDS, and you really need to give RAG credit for that. They have been on the near point of losing this match a few times, and they've been able to save it from the jaws of death.
That's a...
This final gamer completely mopping up the remainder of SRDS in that corner there.
And so there's about 2 minutes left, so there is a possibility for Rag to push it to a draw with the amount of time left. I think it takes about a minute 45 seconds to get the capture point active, so depending on how Rag plays it, they might be able to force this to a draw.
I think we're heading for an exciting finish here, Fiji.
I am too, and SRDS tank just spawned in, so he'll be getting to the flag right as the game ends, so it might have some vital spawns. But it doesn't look like SRDS is on the flag at all, and with how much time's left, they really need to get some bodies on this flag, or else they're gonna push themselves to loss.
I think that cheeky artillery strike from Final Gamer that took out at least 5 or 6 of SRDS put them all in the respawn timer and really ruined their chances of getting to this point first, as RAG is already almost halfway through this cap, and that might have been another game changer. That one artillery strike, a feature that oftentimes is really hit or miss when it comes to its effectiveness, but it seems to have saved RAG from, losing this match.
And SRDS does have a little bit of a flank coming in the back here, but it does look like Rag is going to be able to capture it and get the draw off.
Wow, that's incredible.
That is
incredible. I'm kind of lost for words.
So it looks like it'll be pushed to a draw on this map. But
unless one of these teams completely just mops up the other, and I think RAG is in the best position to do so. SRDS doesn't really have anybody on the map. The point will open up with maybe about 15 seconds left, and I don't think that's going to be enough time to really do anything, but I'm not sure.
It looks like half of SRDS didn't spawn in yet, so it could be possible that Rag captures the entire flag in time, but that would be very close. And I do not think there's enough time for a capture. But it will end up in a draw.
No, it does not look like. Wow. What a fantastic match that we were just treated to there. I think if RAG had a little bit more time, they probably would have done the impossible and come back from the jaws of death there. It looked so bleak for so long there. A couple of really unfortunate plays. Them losing the tank, their tank, well, being lost twice, and a couple of unfortunate destroys of that tank, and them getting pushed here and there. But a fantastic first match. We're going to run in a little incursion to add for you now, and we will be back for map 2.
It's super exciting that Battlefield is finally getting a competitive mode. It's been asked for a really long time. Something DICE has been working on with the community's feedback. Nobody's heard about it until now.
It starts with creating a game that the community loves.
It's super early in production, but we want to get out there to the players and bring them in as part of the development.
EA is listening closely to players in the creation of the game.
And watching through their eyes and seeing the way that they play the game, it's a really amazing experience. The team play that Battlefield 1 Incursions has generated has been nothing short of amazing.
It takes the teamwork of Battlefield and takes it to a whole new level.
5 people on one side, 5 on the other. Fast, strategic gameplay.
It's extremely important for the game to be just as much fun to watch as is to play.
And that starts with the changes that we've made to the scoring system.
What we get is a much more intense experience where every point matters.
But that's the point of the game, is to win. I can get a little competitive sometimes.
One of the unique aspects of Battlefield 1 Incursions is that we're allowing players to choose their kits before they actually get into gameplay.
So teamwork is really important here, and kit play is going to be one of the most important factors in this, which brings in something that we haven't seen in any other competitive game.
There's a lot of strategy with teammates, with more decision-making.
The intensity of the games. You don't know what's gonna happen next. That's why I love Battlefield.
We can't have a Battlefield 1 competitive experience and not have vehicles.
I can tell you what, when they roll around the corner, it is scary.
That tank is not easy to take out. Vehicle play can change the outcome of a game.
There is no game that has that balance of infantry and vehicle play like Battlefield does.
The adrenaline rush, the feeling, it's an immersed environment that you just can't get enough of.
It's a lot of fun to play, and you get those Battlefield moments that are just breathtaking.
Anyone could have that heroic moment. Anyone could pull off a massive play to turn the game around. And that adrenaline feeling that you get is incredible.
I'm really looking forward to seeing this out in the wild.
Alright, and we are back with SRDS versus RAG, and it did end up in a draw for the first map, so we are going to be going to all 3 maps for this one, and so we're definitely in.
Yeah, that's definitely it's very exciting. We don't often go to 3 maps, at least in the matches so far, so it's going to be really probably one of the most equally balanced matches that at least I've casted so far. I'm not quite sure about you, Fiji, but I think this map, Amiens, is where it might take a bit of a turn. We mentioned at the beginning of the broadcast that RAG is a platoon of about 2 or 3 months of age, and SRDS is the veterans in this situation, playing double digits in T16 and T20 matches. And Amiens is the map that I think every single team in Tier 1 probably knows the best. It's a very popular map. It's very well learned. And so I think the experience of RSDS might be a bit of a challenge here for RAG, but I don't want to write them off right off the bat. They played an amazing match on Rupture, and maybe that's part of the reason that Rupture is not a very popular map and it's not very well learned, and a little bit of the inexperience on that map could have affected both teams' gameplay in that situation. But they were very, very resilient, and I said before the break that all the props should be given to them for holding out in situations that seemed very dire in some situations. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out. Do you have Do you have a guess as to how this match is going to go, Fiji?
I think it'll be a pretty even match. It'll definitely boil down to the tank gameplay again. We saw some massive pushes involving tanks going down, tanks being stolen. So depending on which team gets the tank advantage early, I think is going to drive the game. Although I do think that the British side is a little bit better, so I'll probably go with Rag for map number 2.
Really interesting choice. I personally like the German side. I like just the better flow of the way that the points are progressed from the German side. But we do have a start here. I think they are starting at 35. It looks like Sanchez has spawned in a little bit early. And now it looks like the rest of the teams are spawning in. We do have another stream up, another European matchup that's being played right now. DFE is versing, I think, NOR, or is it Norwegian something? I'm not quite sure, but that match is being casted by Ender and Endseeker. We don't blame you if you want to switch matches and go watch another amazing battle of Frontlines, another European qualifier match, but that match is going on as this match is going on. So just a little announcement for you all still in the stream.
So it does look like there's some definite close quarters battles going on. Both teams are trying to get footholds in these apartment buildings.
Deja with a pretty peculiar tank setup. Normally tanks try to go up and take the high ground, as SRDS is kind of going around and trying to look for that tank. Thobi is kind of behind, but he's going to get mowed down. He got into a long-range battle with a short-range gun there. He's going to be taken out pretty easily, as RAG is actually going to clear off SRDS, it looks like, in this initial point here.
It is interesting to see that Rag's tank is in the little valley in the middle of this map. It's a very dangerous position, but it does give very good spawns to the rest of Rag.
And that's a quick capture on the side of Rag, as the next problem for Dijo is, yeah, he's going to go down. The spawns, they pushed so far into SRDS' spawn that SRDS actually got spawns behind RAG and were able to take out that tank, but I don't know if that's an equal trade-off, the point for a tank. What do you think? The tank is really crucial on this next point.
Depending on how early Rag gets to the flag in their positioning, it does look like they have one person up here in this building. So I do think it's okay to trade your tank for that if you get the proper positioning on this B flag. And it does look like they have a, depending if they squad bomb it, they'll have the advantage against SRDS on this flag.
A really important part just happened there, and it looks like it was Muhammad's squad was kind of almost holding off the reinforcements. They were in RAG spawns and they were still at the last point, being able to take out a few of the RAG players from respawning and reinforcing their team. But it looks like RAG is up into this, what I call coffee point, call that the coffee shop.
But you can see that how SRDS, even though they don't have the upstairs building, they have long sight lines with their light machine guns.
Agreed. It does look like RAG getting a two-piece with some dynamite, as SRDS has moved up into that upper copy shop, and now it's going to be a lot of close quarters combat, a lot of dynamite. Muhammad throwing out a few pieces, trying to get a spray with some Hellregal action. Keeps throwing that dynamite. I don't think he knows how many are quite behind that door.
And SRDS having the upstairs of this building is, I would think, crucial, at least for this flag. Rag does have some people in another building overlooking into B, but I think SRDS is going to capture this flag without much trouble.
It looks like that trade-off has not seemed to work out on the side of RAG. They gave up their tank early, and I'm not quite sure what happened to SRDS's tank, but I'm assuming it got taken out very early as well.
It does look like it. So SRDS is mainly pushing up this little side hallway here to setting up good light machine gun positions.
Michael with a nice slide kill with the auto-loading extended, gets some help from Illyria with the Parabellum. He's going to rush in, gets a pistol kill. I think that's an auto revolver. One more up the stairs. Dejo is waiting with some dynamite, and oh my goodness. That is a cluster, and that is a three-piece for Dejo. As good outside of the tank as he is in the tank, it appears, for RAG. As another triple piece for the side of RAG, that's Cezonsi.
Now,
Nailed it.
And it looks like Rag is pretty offensive in their positioning in these buildings, whereas SRDS is being a little bit more passive in their positioning. They're just being more methodical, clearing people out.
Menace Fury waiting on a spawn for Muhammad, but Muhammad gets taken down almost immediately.
And there's so many small little incursions, little battles going on that it's hard to give you guys a good camera angle. It does look like SRDS does manage to grab their apartments. I mean, grab Rag's apartments, and Rag has SRDS's apartments.
And SRDS's tank did just spawn in. Assassin is on his way, not quite sure. And it does look like RAG's tank did go down, or did respawn as well. So that means they went down about the same time on that first point there. And as we saw with the Rupture map prior to this, when both tanks are down, it does look like SRDS does have the gun skill advantage. So that would explain why they won that point, that last point, that B point, once they were pushed back to it.
And as you can see, the SRDS does have light machine guns pointing down these hallways. And that's a very important way to stop the push.
This point is kind of set up a little bit weirdly than normal. The initial pushing of the tank on that first point during the first opening capture point of C, and both tanks went down, and then obviously the infantry battle on that B point. A weird flank by SRDS really kind of put them in an awkward position. They decided to push down this left alley here, and they got kind of overexposed. Although it does look like they did get the point. I must have read that incorrectly. I thought we were going back to the B point.
Yep, and both tanks are in fairly good positions. Rag's tank is a little bit more aggressive, so he is available to be shot from the side. And Rag has amazing positioning right now. SRDS is kind of falling behind in getting onto this flag, but they are coming from two different angles, and most of the Rag players are focusing on SRDS's tank, so it gives them an opportunity to come from behind.
It looks like Matt and Jokes are behind him, but man, they do not make these things easy for us casters, do they?
They do not, and they keep popping up in these weird places, so I'm trying to capture the action as best as possible. So it does look like Rag is getting the advantage in capturing the flag, but SRDS is slowly getting a capture advantage, getting bodies on, and they do have some people coming up the back here. So SRDS does have
I wonder if Assassin, yeah, it might, I don't know, Assassin looked like he was about to kind of rush in and see if he can push Crow off the point, but then he thought better of it.
Alright, and it does look like Rag is managing to sweep up all of the remaining SRDS players in the back. And SRDS does have a little cheeky building spot that they're hiding in.
Yeah, and this point is very, very hard to take if you're attacking this like SRDS is, especially because the tank, when you're defending this point, can literally just sit in the square and cover all three main ways of attacking this point and be able to take out flankers with ease. So it's really up to the man advantage of getting your players into the nooks and crannies, into this little alleyway. And it looks like SRDS has done that from the meantime and able to get the body advantage, but it looks like RAG has a full tank coming from behind, and as soon as I say that, they all get dropped. We Maniac with a two-piece, and it looks like Amsterdam with a sniper shot, taking out that back push, as Assassin is now getting a little bit more free range of motion, as it does look like RAG's tank went down there.
That it did, so now SRDS has the advantage. There is some flank going on, but that gets thwarted very quickly. So SRDS is being a little bit more aggressive with their tanking positioning because they know that Rag is outside of the anti-tank grenade range, and AT rockets can only do so much against a repairman.
And it sets up kind of a weird position here. You see RAG with 2 light machine guns, Super Dally, and that name that I just had so much trouble with before. I'm not going to try it again. They're laying down by this huge square with their LMGs trying to suppress fire, but SRDS is in the nooks and crannies of these buildings, kind of out of that line of sight. So it's really a bit of a stalemate here.
That it is. It's definitely... We're going to have to see if SRDS can push their tank advantage. And if they can do anything, because Rag's tank will be respawning fairly shortly.
Now, it does look like Assassin was able to take out those LMGs, but they do get revived. So I think Assassin really needs to not get overly aggressive here, but once he gets a few picks like that, he needs to make sure that they're down, and then they could probably start pushing the objective, as now REG is getting the numbers advantage again.
And it did just look like SRDS lost their tank. Rag did have an assault player with some dynamite sneaking up the back. And so now Rag will have be on even footing with SRDS, and their tanks will be spawning in shortly, so I can almost foresee SRDS losing this flag with the tank advantage from Rag coming in.
Does look like SRDS does have a flank coming from behind. Muhammad leading the charge, Men in Fury behind him, looks like with a shotgun. Michael trying to serpentine his way out of fire, but that didn't look like it was exactly going to work, as Payne gets a spawn off of Muhammad. He's able to take out one or so, but he's about to run into 2 as they slide and take him out.
It looks like SRDS is just trying to work the flanks and get Rag on the back foot, but with them being in the center square, they just have much better positioning to capture this flag.
And we are heading back to the ever so infamous C point here.
So we'll have to see.
Notoriously, go ahead.
We'll have to see where the light machine guns can get set up and get some defensive positioning for Rag, because that's what will lock down the buildings. Because you can have assault players slide, but if they have a light machine gun aiming at them from 20 yards away, they can't do that much.
And RAG's tank did just spawn in, so he will be on his way to the objective shortly. SRD is going to have to spend a little bit more time without their flank. But as I was going to say, this point notoriously hard to capture. It's an all-out war, and it's very costly sometimes to be able to take this point, as we saw RAG lose their tank on their first position, being our first time around losing it for pushing up too far, but in order to capture the objective for it.
Yeah, it looks like this flag is very even. There's a couple people on both sides of the apartment buildings, and people are just lobbing grenades down these hallways, and 1 or 2 pushes occur. It does look like Rag is slowly getting a foothold in these apartments, and they do have their tank positioned in the middle of the flag, or of the capture area again. So with how SRDS is positioned with all their assault players, I don't think Rag's tank's going to last at all.
And it doesn't. A weird strategy there, I guess, in the minds of RAG. They thought, well, it got us the point the first time, maybe it'll get the point the second time, but I don't think that was the correct play there, Fiji. I think the assault game on SRDS, as we saw the last time that we had a match with them, is that their assault game is very, very strong, if anything. So leaving yourself vulnerable to into 18 nade range and that's even borderline dynamite range if you could throw it far enough. Not a strategy I would have used.
Yeah, especially at that kind of angle. It's a high risk, high reward kind of play. It's good for giving your team spawns and access to both sides of the apartment buildings, but it gives the opportunity for SRDS to shoot AT rockets at you from 4 different angles, and it seems that that plan did not work out the second time around. And it's just a continuing struggle for these apartment buildings.
Pretty even battle right now. One of the reasons why it's so difficult to take this point is that because it just goes back and forth, and it almost kind of remains in kind of like this I don't know, area of trying to find the right word for it. this purgatory of like kind of being halfway capped, halfway not. It's what makes this point so difficult to capture.
Yeah, it's both teams are very cemented inside their apartment buildings. One team will run in and kill 3 or 4 players, and then there's one person left back, and he just squad spawns, and the flag starts going back in their direction, and it's just going back and forth. But it does look like Rag is getting a bit of an advantage here. There's only a handful of SRDS left on this flag.
Now, I'm not quite sure if SRDS's tank has come back in and gotten destroyed. I don't know if you caught that or not, but if not, their tank should be coming in momentarily.
Yeah, I did not see SRDS's tank go down, so I would assume that it would be coming in pretty quickly here. But Rag does seem to have the numbers on this C flag. But SRDS is having a pretty big push in their apartment building in this little corner here, but I don't think it'll be enough.
RIG being able to storm back and take this very difficult point as we are heading back to this B point, very, very similar to the D point, in which a tank can kind of stay in the middle and cover all the areas of attack.
That's very true. Let's look at that tabletop for a second. You can see all the different routes that Rag is taking to try to get onto this B flag, where SRDS has a couple people running behind, trying to go for some flanks.
Still not quite sure what happened to SRDS's tank. I have not seen it spawn in yet still.
So it looks like Rag has the position advantage on the upper level of this building at B, and they do have some flanks. So depending on how far up the Dirty Sanchez, for example, pushes up, they can really start messing with the spawn locations of SRDS.
Dirty Sanchez holding off against almost an entire squad now is Tactico Croatico. I got it that time. Spawns in, is able to get a kill or two, able to completely almost obliterate this SRDS flank. Dirty Sanchez trying to run in and getting the final kill. He gets taken out as Tactico gets taken out as well, and looks like Kuros completely saved his push there from behind as SRDS is about to get a few more bodies on the point. But RAG is still holding on to the power positions on this point, and that is Coffee Shop and that is the Overlook positions, kind of the two buildings on opposite sides of one another, as Dejo gets spawned in win his tank, and I still don't know where this SRDS tank is.
I'm very unsure as well of where their tank is, but it does look like Rag has a bunch of people in this Overlook building, but it is not a capture position, or within inside the cap zone. So they're definitely weighing the opportunity to have good sight lines versus having those 3 or 4 people on the flag.
I don't know if SRDS is just not spawning in their tank, or they don't know that it's available. They're kind of just forgetting that. But if Dejo was able to get killed in the tank and come back by now, something must be going on. And SRDS's tank did just spawn in.
It could have been that.
So maybe it got destroyed and we just missed it, or something. I don't know. But it looks like it's probably going to be a little too late, as RAG is going to more than likely push SRDS back to this A point, this community point. Very, very claustrophobic, very, very hard to attack.
It could have just been that their tanker was playing an infantry class and was just staying alive a little bit long and just missed the opportunity to spawn on the tank the second it was available. But it seems that that was a little shortfall in how Rag managed to get this B objective.
Yeah, in my mind, if you get word from your teammates that the tank is up, I hit that redeploy button almost immediately, get the tank back on the field, take the L, take the momentary L in your stats, and get the tank back on the field, as it does look like the tanks have spotted one another in a cloud of smoke. RAG is really pushing from this side entrance here. Almost from all entrances, really. They've gotten on this point faster than SRDS has, and it looks like RAG, for the moment, has SRDS scrambling.
It definitely looks like it. I'm going to try to do a bird's eye approach to this A flag. And as you can see, Rag is almost at every single corner of this capture area, as SRDS is kind of just in little pockets here and there. But it...
And then going into this match, I thought the experience of SRDS probably playing this map multiple times over would put them at an advantage. And so far, apart from a couple of mishaps with the tank, RAG has it looks like a sea of red on that one side of the point there, but ARG has stuck together and has really brought it to SRDS, and you have to give them props for it. But SRDS is a very resilient team, and I wouldn't be surprised if they are able to get this point back and heading back to this B.
It does look like SRDS's tank is coming up the back. They'll be able to get behind Rag's tank if he doesn't turn around quick enough.
Yeah, it looks like Dejo is trapped in there, and the tank is probably going to peekaboo like The Shining. Here's Johnny. He's going to probably take out Dejo here very, very quickly.
This is a massive push from SRDS. They waited for their tank to get in proper position. They worked as a team. They communicated it, and it does look like SRDS is having a very good push here and completely wiping it.
It looks like another instance. It looks like another instance, though, in which the aggressiveness of RAG's tank has backfired on them, as they have relied on multiple occasions on that tank for spawns, and it's kind of like they're asking for the best of both worlds, where you have an aggressive tanker that takes out a lot of people, but they're also asking for those respawns from the tank, and you really can't get both, especially when you drive into the middle of the point where there's only one way in and one way out.
Yeah, it was working for a little bit for them to have their tank right on the objective. You could see how SRDS was completely wiped off the flag, but then as soon as they knew exactly where it was, they regrouped, had a couple people switch to assault, and just completely took out their tank and destroyed their advantage. So it worked out in the short term, but this is a long game mode, so they definitely have to look for long term for this. And SRDS did manage to capture the flag, so they're not going to be going to telegraphs. They're going to be going back to the B flag. And it doesn't look like anybody's on B yet, so Rag might be getting the position advantage, depending on how these first few gunfights go.
Looks like the only member of SRDS was a point. It looks like the rest of SRDS is pushing back from the old point, trying to get into this upper position over here. A few RAG members left in there, Prosanecki being one of them. And it looks like SRDS is again opting to attack from multiple sides here.
But as you can see, we're on the first person perspective here. There's just red everywhere. They have so many sight lines onto this B objective, and no one from SRDS is really on the flag just yet. So try to find a good camera position for you guys. But Rag is definitely
this league. Go ahead. This league is Tier 1 gaming for that person asking in the chat. Tier 1 gaming.
So it does look like SRDS's tank is rolling onto this B flag. He's playing fairly aggressive, and there are some assault players right next to him. Hopefully he does not have TNT, because that'd be a very, very bad way to lose your tank.
It looks like Assassin is running for his life, maybe trying to back over a few people as he's in trouble, and he's going to go down. Very curious to see I almost think it's like a discrepancy in playstyle here between European teams and North American teams, because I personally, with my team, our tanker is very defensive, very, very, very passive almost. He can get aggressive at times. Success is a wonderful tanker. Shout out to Success, as Payne gets almost a, I don't know if that was a quad feed. He's just got a lot of kills with a dynamite. But anyways, North American teams tend to run very, very passive with their tanks, and it looks like the European squads have been almost aggressive to a fault.
Yeah, it's definitely pretty interesting seeing how the playstyles differ from region to region. It definitely seems like SRDS and Rag are valuing the aggressiveness in the higher risk plays with their tanks versus a super defensive playstyle of other players in the league. But it has paid off for them, and certain scenarios. It has backfired in others, but when it came down to the wire, they definitely made the plays happen, especially in regards to the Rupture match earlier.
And if you are just joining us now, this is game 2 of a 3-game series. Map 1 Rupture went to a draw, so we will be going to a 3rd game after this. 3rd map is Prise de Tahure. Kind of an unknown map, not necessarily an unknown map, but a map that's not very popular, not picked often among teams. So it's going to be interesting, like Rupture, to see how those teams handle that. As it looks like the push from RAG just came way too late, and SRDS had them trapped in their spawn here. And as we say a lot with this game mode feature, and as we said a lot together with the games that we've casted, Frontlines is very much a game of momentum, and it can change rapidly. And it looks like, for a time there, it looks like RAG was going to push SRDS to telegraphs and MCOMs, but now SRDS has fought all the way back to the center point.
That is true. It's very much a game of attrition. As you could see, the last map was decided within the last minute. So you got to give props to these players. They've been playing for over an hour so far. These matches are 40 minutes long, and they're just going hard.
Yeah, I know that we're gamers and we're not professional athletes, but trust me, these hour-long matches, being attentive and focused, can start to take a toll on you, and you can start making some bad decisions. As you see Dejo learning from his 2 prior mistakes. He's camping himself straight on the bridge, and as I say that, he just defies my authority and goes straight back into the old position that he was in. And if SRDS sees this, they can potentially take him out. But it looks like RAG, in this case, as compared to the other time where RAG was attacking this point, SRDS is not in position to be able to take him out.
Yeah, it just looks like Rag has a better positioning on the apartment building, so the tank being down here is not in a terrible position when they have control of at least one side of the apartments, but when they played it last time.
And it looks like SRDS has moved into this apartment, and now Dejo is going to have to back up. They got a lot of spawns into this left row of buildings here, and they're going to have to, if I would suggest to them, if I were in their chat party, you're going to have to run at least 2 repairmen instead of 1 if you're going to put yourself in that dangerous of a position.
But as you can see, it's a lot of close quarters combat, and Rag managed to win on this C flag, and they're just, I can't speak English right now, but they're going to be going on to this B flag. And SRDS is already pre-positioned, it seems like, on this flag. They were already anticipating not capturing that flag.
Words are hard, Fiji, but what's more difficult than words is trying to capture this point, as SRDS did get people there first, and they do have people up in these buildings here, but RAG was very, very quick, and they were able to get into the other side building of their own, and able to get some position, as SRDS does have their tank back, and he's pushing straight in. I didn't know, I'm not quite sure if he knew that the other tank was up or not, but he's able to push Dejo back further down the alleyway, as SRDS might be able to get some spawns on the tank. And if Assassin knows that, which now he does because somebody shot him with an AT rocket, if he knew that RAG was in this corner building, he's going to start throwing some shells right into that building, and we could see RAG get swept off this point very quickly if the shots are accurate.
That is a very aggressive position for SRDS's tank. They have the opportunity for Rag's tank to shoot at them with shells and Rag's assault players to run in. They do have reppers, but this is another example of those high risk, high reward plays.
Alright, I do not know what I've done with my free cam, but I am stuck in a wall. Code red, code red.
You could try hitting like triangle and switch cameras.
Yeah, there we go. There we go. There we go.
So it does look like SRDS.
Well, I was foolishly stuck in it.
SRDS almost captured the.
Yeah, I was about to say the same thing.
Almost captured the flag, but their tank went down. The aggressiveness of their tank didn't pay off there, and the defensiveness of Rag's tank paid off. And now Rag is in the fully defensive positions on this flag, and with 6.5 minutes left, this could be the turning point in this match to decide who wins.
And Wandy Ferris in the chat is addressing you, says, our scrim against you guys was a draw on all 3 maps. Do you have an answer for that? I don't know if there was a conversation in the chat.
Let me think. If it was against Ian like a month ago, I do believe we went all 3 maps, full length on all 3 maps, and that was, I wouldn't say it was horrible, but I definitely wanted to go to sleep after that match. And I know that all these...
Yeah, very hellacious match.
All these games are evening matches for these European players, so if people wake up super early in the morning, this will definitely play a part into the game of attrition that Frontlines is.
It looks like RAG has been able to push SRDS back to this A point, and we are closing in on 5.5 minutes left. Not necessarily out of the question for SRDS to do the impossible again and push RAG all the way back to the center point and force another draw, but time's running out here for SRDS. They have to hold this point, I think, if they want to win this. They want to win this map.
And SRDS doesn't have very much people on the flags here. It seems like RAG has the good positioning right now. So the question right now is, where did SRDS go? It seems like they got...
Yeah, I don't see any blue.
It seems like all of their squads got squad wiped, and they're going to have to spawn all the way back at the telegraphs. This is pretty big. So we're going to have the aggressive players such as like Dirty Sanchez to just start cutting off the reinforcements.
Yes, thank you, Juan. I'm Catalyst, I'm part of LAM, and this is Mini Fiji. He is part of Triple V. And as we said earlier, if you're joining us now, first map was on Rupture, and it was a draw. These are European teams. And this is another map that is going to go down to the wire, although it looks like that complete squad wipe, or that team wipe, rather, of RAG is going to push SRDS to MCOMs here. And knowing what we know about this A point, I don't think that SRDS can come back from this, but crazier things have happened, especially in the games that we've casted, Fiji.
I definitely agree. It's going to be very interesting to see how they try to tackle the telegraphs, and it looks like RAG almost already has people on the B objectives. As RAG's tank comes in, and they are planting both objectives, and now they currently have all their players on the B objective.
And Thopi has hopped into the tank of SRDS, replacing Assassin, trying to push up and get Dejo off the point, or at least off both of them, off of the overlook area, as he takes a couple of hits from the sides. I'm not quite sure if that was Dynamite or AT nades, but he's going to need a rep man now. He's about to be taken out very quickly as Dejo realizes that Thopi's in trouble. He's going to push him. Got a couple of shots on. Thopi stranded without a repairman, and he's about to go down, it looks like, and he's just sacrificing the tank.
And another...
Instead of trying to... But that was a weird play. I don't know if you caught that. Instead of trying to get out and repair the tank from the outside, he just took an 18-8 to it and decided to destroy it himself. I know that SRDS took RAG's tank twice in the first match, but he just sacrificed a tank when he didn't have to.
Yeah, they're getting down to the wire. They need to make the quick plays happen, especially with how much time's left. So you can't judge them too hard to just try to get their tank down as fast as possible to try to just have an opportunity to make the comeback here.
Parth in the chat says, can't wait to play you guys from RAM. You guys play hard. Thank you so much for that compliment, man. We are excited to play you as well. Looking forward to it. Should be a very interesting match. Hopefully we can get that televised or streamed.
It does look like SRDS successfully defended this flag. But I do think with the amount of time left, it'll be...
Yeah.
It'll be on A.
Yeah, I think that's a wash for this map too. It looks like RAG is going to. I'm not going to call this an upset because if anything from the first map, we saw that RAG was more than capable with hanging around. But I surely thought at the beginning of this map that SRDS's experience would overtake RAG's kind of eager nature, very aggressive play. And I'm the first to admit when I was wrong. RAG has played an outstanding match. And they're going to force SRDS to go back to the drawing board. And if you're an SRDS fan, you're kind of in an uncomfortable position right now because you're going to a third map in Prise de Tahure, which isn't a popular map. It's not very widely played by these teams.
Yep, that map has a much different play style from both of the maps that we've seen so far today. There's no tanks on it. It's all infantry gameplay, and there's a lot of weird corridors that, for players that haven't played the map religiously, you can practically get lost on the map.
And the fact that it's a night map, unless your brightness is cranked all the way up and you plant night lights in every single individual one of the houses on that map, it's very hard to see enemy players. So that definitely has a factor as well.
I very much agree, and it does look like Reg will be taking this match. SRDS is still playing their hearts out, and I don't blame them, because after a 40-minute game, and with what we've seen so far, there's definitely opportunities for teams to win with that much time left.
And it looks like RAG is going to take map 2, and we are going to be, well, we were heading to a map 3 anyways, but the story now becomes, Fiji, whether SRDS can take this map 3 and force a draw in the series overall, or it's going to be a 2-0 to the side of RAG. I'm not sure if we have another ad for you. Do we have another ad to play during this break, Fiji? We're going to rerun the
Incursions ad? Yeah, we'll rerun the Incursion ad. Give us an opportunity to grab some water and provide the best content to you guys.
All right, we'll see you after the...
It's super exciting that Battlefield is finally getting a competitive mode. It's been asked for a really long time. Something DICE has been working on with the community's feedback. Nobody's heard about it until now.
It starts with creating a game that the community loves.
It's super early in production, but we want to get out there to the players and bring them in as part of the development.
EA is listening closely to players in the creation of the game.
And watching through their eyes and seeing the way that they play the game, it's a really amazing experience. The team play that Battlefield 1 Incursions has generated has been nothing short of amazing.
It takes the teamwork of Battlefield and takes it to a whole new level.
5 people on one side, 5 on the other. Fast, strategic gameplay.
It's extremely important for the game to be just as much fun to watch as is to play.
And that starts with the changes that we've made to the scoring system.
What we get is a much more intense experience where every point matters.
But that's the point of the game, is to win. I can get a little competitive sometimes.
One of the unique aspects of Battlefield 1 Incursions is that we're allowing players to choose their kits before they actually get into gameplay.
So teamwork is really important here, and kit play is going to be one of the most important factors in this, which brings in something that we haven't seen in any other competitive game.
There's a lot of strategy with teammates, with more decision-making.
The intensity of the games. You don't know what's going to happen next. That's why I love Battlefield.
We can't have a Battlefield 1 competitive experience and not have vehicles.
I can tell you what, when they roll around the corner, it is scary.
That tank is not easy to take out. Vehicle play can change the outcome of a game.
There is no game that has that balance of infantry and vehicle play like Battlefield does.
The adrenaline rush, the feeling, it's an immersed environment that you just can't get enough of.
It's a lot of fun to play, and you get those Battlefield moments that are just breathtaking.
Anyone could have that heroic moment. Anyone could pull off a massive play to turn the game around. And that adrenaline feeling that you get is incredible.
I'm really looking forward to seeing this out in the wild.
Alright, and welcome back. We are on the map of Prise de Tahure, and we're going to be going for map number 3 in this Frontlines match. And I personally have not cast a match on this map, and it's very interesting to see how well each team is going to do on this map. There's no tanks on this map, unlike the first 2 maps, so it's going to be a lot more infantry gameplay. And there's a lot more nooks and crannies on this map for the opportunities for people to run in with assault players and kill all the support players that are in these long sight lines. So we're in for a treat, especially with how the first two maps played. The first map was a tie. The second map it ran out of time with Rag winning. So it is currently 1-0. So we're definitely in for a treat. I wouldn't be surprised if it's going to be going all the way.
So if SRDS were to win this map, it would be a series draw, and in order to go into overtime, which of course, since the first match was a draw and RAG obviously won the second map, if SRDS would win this map, it would go into overtime, and we'd play the first map again under about half settings, I believe so. I think that's what he said.
Okay.
So we would probably be running at 20 minutes instead of a full 40-minute match.
All right, so that just gives you guys a little backfilling in for what the procedures would be if this does end up going to SRDS. We would have a 4-map series, and I'd be very surprised, but I'd be pretty thrilled because that'd be some excellent gameplay that we'd be watching.
And definitely the 20-minute match brings a greater sense of urgency than the 40-minute match. I know when I'm playing halftime, I have a greater upkeep, a greater drive to make some more plays, be a little bit more aggressive, whereas 40 minutes, I know that if the teams are a little bit more evenly matched, we have a little bit more time to make the plays that we want to. So I think if this game does go to overtime, it'll be a very exciting finish. But before we get there, 15 seconds rather until the spawns on the final map, Prise de Tahure. How do you all think that this one's gonna go?
I personally have no clue which way this is gonna go. There's no tanks on this map, so it's gonna be a little bit more interesting to see how the foot soldier gameplay goes. I think SRDS might have a little bit better of ground game without tanks. So I think my personal vote will go for SRDS on this.
Yeah, I think we're going to overtime as well, Fiji, but the teams have spawned in and they are converging. And here we go, map 3, Prise de Tahure, RAG versus SRDS. Who is going to come out on top?
The RAG is already having a couple people go along these flanks, and SRDS is trying to do something similar, just try to get behind. But SRDS does have the early cap advantage, but it does look like they're slowly getting wiped off the flag. But as you can see, there's players very close to each other, and they can't see each other, just based on how many pits and trenches and random obstacles there are on this map. So it definitely gives a lot of opportunity for quick reactions and submachine gun gameplay on this map.
And I do think that there is a certain advantage to the French Republic side because their uniforms are blue, and the night map kind of shading in Battlefield games are typically not so much just like a dark black, it's more of a midnight blue. So we talked a little, we kind of hinted at it a little bit before we got onto this map, but it is hard to see it sometimes, and it's going to be interesting to see if that lack of vision is going to have any effect on this game. And the easy way to counter that is to pop a few more flares than normal, see if you can identify those players on the mini-map so you don't have to go visually looking for them.
Yeah, as you can see, Rag does have a couple good overlook positions on this flag, but they are slowly losing the capture zone to SRDS because they have more people on the lower parts of the map that are in a little bit more dangerous position, but they are in the capture zone. Just right as I say that, SRDS gets swept from behind from Rag, and it starts going back in the direction of Rag.
I think we're going for another 40-minute match here, Fiji.
I would not be surprised with how these teams are playing. This is a very close-knit match. at every turn it's very close. But as you can see from the vantage point of Dirty Sanchez, it's very hard to see people even from less than 50 meters away.
Sanchez running what appears to be the SMLE infantry version with a radium sight there, trying to get a shot on Muhammad. He gets taken out by Michael across the way with the Far Quad optical.
But it's just back and forth.
My opinion, the best gun in the game, that Far Quad.
The Far Quad is,
or at least for the medic.
The Far Quad is definitely a very good gun, and every time I say it or hear it, I just think of Shrek. So that also makes it a pretty good gun.
I have never called it by its actual name. I have called it the Far Quad from beginning, from like its inception to it being present day. Right now, I've always called it the Far Quad.
But this map is just going back and forth and back and forth. You can see that snipers are a little bit more important on this map just because how close quarters it is and how effective flares are. And you can see all the smokes coming out to try to negate those. But it's a lot of close quarters combat here.
Both teams playing a great game right now. Very, very strong, very, very impressive. I think whatever the result of this game, Fiji, both these teams should have their heads held up extremely high, especially for in terms of stamina, playing 2 full-length matches and then having to go to a third match and play just as strong. It's very, very impressive. Hats off to both these teams. Very, very hardly fought.
I agree. I couldn't even imagine the prospect of going to a 4th map in 40-minute games of Frontlines. But both teams are not blinking at the prospect of going to a full map. But Rag does seem like they're about to capture the flag. There is a strong push from SRDS, but it was a hair too late. We are going to be going to the C objective.
And I almost zoomed over to the A objective just from the way that they captured it, but they actually are in a position to get ahead of SRDS here because of they kind of almost flipped spawns, and RAG does have 2 players on the flag. Payne Uni gets the guy in the corner there as SRDS is actually going to get there a little bit first, but RAG is hot on their tails. It's going to be a few close quarters gunfights. This final gamer trades out with Wemiak, and he is killed by Payne. SRDS being able to get positions up. I thought that RAG might be able to get there first for a second, but SRDS very, very speedy, very calculated in getting back to that position. And this is a hard one to take. This is I always have trouble taking this point, Fiji.
I definitely agree. There's a lot of nooks and crannies that you can hide in. SRDS did get hit from a flank from Rag coming on the street side, and it's a weird cap area because it's almost what this old building used to be, so it doesn't go as far out into the street as.
And we do have a sister broadcast up right now. End and Endseeker are broadcasting NOR versus DFE. They are in the middle of an Amiens match right now, so if you're interested in that, feel free to go over, stop by them, tell them hi from us, tell them that Fiji and Catalyst sent you, and show some love to another European matchup.
And it does look like that is also another great stream to stop by and check. 2 European games going on the same day at the same time is a rare opportunity. But it does seem like Rag is taking the advantage here on this flag.
Muhammad with the 4-piece with the dynamite, absolutely clearing RAG off the point, and he might have just saved this point from being captured. Oh, it almost did. It stalled that capture for a good 5-10 seconds there.
And it seems like the momentum from the last map is pushing into this map almost, as Rag is already onto the telegraphs, and SRDS is kind of on the back foot here.
These telegraphs are very, very difficult to take because the only real way that you can get from that last point to the MCOMs without making a massive flank and kind of separating your numbers is to just go straight hard into this B objective, and that's what RAG is electing to do for the most part. Looks like it does look like they have a squad or two heading over to A, but looks like they're going to get cleared up rather quickly as RAG is just piling numbers onto this B objective. Payne trying to call in an artillery strike, and Krogeber, that name again. It's very similar to another name on a different squad, and it's messing me up a little bit, but they are seeming to get a plant here. SRDS might, oh, looks like he got knocked out by Gats. I was about to say that Harass was about to get an easy defuse, but RIG with a revive on the point, and SRDS is going to have to come in and take this over very quickly. It does look like they have a few people on the defuse right now, and they are going to get it. Very close call here for RSDS.
We're going to have to see how SRDS comes with gets their momentum back with that defuse there. It'll definitely give their players a little bit of extra morale, knowing that they're not completely out of the game just yet. And there is 25 minutes left, and they only need to kill around 5 more people before they can start capturing the C flag again.
It looks like SRDS has kind of finalized their positions on this point to be able to send it back to the C capture point. They have held off for now, but RAG is still swirling around, and SRDS is going to have to put up one heck of a push to be able to take back the C objective, as RAG is already back and they are already set up, and there is not a lot of cover coming from this side, and the only real way to push is from these stairs area and these back alley flanks, which looks like a squad or two of SRDS has done so.
And as you can see, just running into the flag, just peeking your head out for a second or two, and you're already getting shot from multiple people. Rag is definitely in the good defensive positions, and SRDS is going through these back routes here through the buildings. But it seems like
Wanda Ferris with a good point in chat as well. Sorry to interrupt you. That we also have another stream in about 6 hours. Eternal Nemesis EN versus Warpigs Warp. That is a North American matchup. 2 very good teams. I will be on call for that game along with Ender. And that should be an interesting North American qualifier match as well. So if you just cannot get enough Frontlines action, make sure you stay tuned, or at least tune back in about 6 hours from now. I believe that's a 10 o'clock start for that match. We will be there and we will be ready.
Yeah, we're definitely in a treat at every point of today. We have multiple EU games going on and multiple NA games going on. But it does seem like SRDS is squeaking up the back of the capture area and pushing Rag off. Rag did have most of the flag captured, and SRDS managed to push up through the back, get a flank off, and now the flag's starting to go back in their favor.
I think the key to taking back that point on the side of SRDS was being able to hit that flank near the stairs over there very, very quickly, as RAG is starting to clear them back off the point now, but that initial takeover wouldn't have been possible without the assault push that SRDS had over on that flank.
Yeah, and as you can see, Rag is just, it seems to me that Rag is in the better defensive positions, and they completely wiped out SRDS from the flag. They just have the better defensive positions, and they're winning the one-on-one gunfights. That could be part of the attrition of playing for so long.
Fatigue definitely setting in at this stage of the game.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I played 3 full maps myself, and that was super tiring. If you don't play a lot, and you're using a gun that you're not familiar with, it's just going to start throwing you off. You can't be as focused.
Looks like RAG is going to get another run at those MCOMs, being able to withstand some strong SRDS pushes. As RAG, I think they are forming to go after A first this time. A whole bunch of blueberries, or excuse me, I call them blueberries out of habit, folks. A whole bunch of blue people heading over to this A MCOM. Going to try to attack that one first, because the B MCOM, although it is closest to the point, it's the point that most people decide to post up against.
So it does look like their attack is fairly even. It's a little bit favored towards the A side. That might just be because less people were killed by Rag on the A side, but I think they're going to be getting a plant. Let's take a quick zoom in here.
Yeah, Payne, the only remaining SRDS member on the point before the plant gets down. Muhammad trying to throw some dynamite, he gets taken out. Michael is there by himself, and it looks like RAG does have a few numbers around the point here, but I think they're about to get caught out here unless they can win their gunfights. Maniac trying to rush in. He does get a kill. He probably will be going for the defuse here, and I don't think that RAG knows that he's there. If Bozo checks the point, he will be able to find him, and he does, and he gets some fire on it. It's able to take him out before Maniac can defuse the bomb, but SRDS isn't going away. Muhammad and Men of Fury trying to rush and get some dynamite. They get taken out, and it looks like RAG is going to have a destroy here. And it does look like they have set the other bomb as well, and time is ticking for SRDS. They are getting a cheeky defuse. I don't think that they know that he's there, and wow. Blau might have just saved this game for SRDS.
Yeah, it definitely seems like Rag has a ton of people on the flag here. Sorry about a couple dropped frames there, but SRDS is managing to rally and push Rag off this objective, but it seems like Rag managed to get 1 or 2 people onto this telegraph. Let's see if SRDS can push up. They did manage to kill most of the Rag players. And it does look like they get to defuse. There is still 20 minutes left in the game, even though SRDS did lose 1 telegraph. So they're not out of it yet. They still have the possibility of winning.
It does look like SRDS was able to once again thwart off that attack, but not without penalty. They did lose one of their MCOMs here. Reports from Ender is that the stream is skipping a little bit.
Yep, I had
not sure.
I dropped some frames there.
Not sure if that was a technical difficulty.
Yep, I dropped a couple of frames, and I just lowered the bit rate here, so it should go back to normal. It's just a hiccup in my internet.
Okay. Thanks for letting us know, Ender. Thank you very much.
So we should be all right back on track right as SRDS starts to mount their comeback. So Rag has a couple people on the defensive positions, and SRDS is doing something similar to what they did the last time. They're pushing up through these buildings and coming through with a flank. And this is very effective because Rag is looking towards the telegraphs for where they'd be coming from, not this little side angle in behind them.
SRDS, as you did say, electing to kind of hit the flank here, but this C point is very difficult to take on either side, so it's really who gets into this point first, and usually it's the defending team. And RAG is dug into every nook and cranny that they can find. And SRDS does have a flank coming from behind. Only 2 players from RAG looking past it. They are going the long scenic way around, kind of hitting from 2 sides as Blau takes out 1, looking for the other. Can't find the medic. He finds him, eventually is able to take him out. And SRDS, I'm not quite sure if they got that in time. And no, it does look like they're not. Now they're in a bad position. That flank came a little bit too late. So I think the best chance for them here is if they are able to take out those players before they get a chance to escape. Although they do have a squad, they're protecting the B objective. SRDS very quick to get there this time.
Yeah, we're gonna have to see if SRDS can rally to defend this point. They have to get through 40 tickets again to stop them from planting on their telegraph. It does seem like I'm dropping some more frames here. My internet is deciding to just not work. So I'm gonna try to do my best here to keep the stream from stuttering and everything.
It does look like RAG does have a flank coming from behind. Only a 3-man team, and it looks like our SRDS is wise to the act as Tactico and Thropi run right around each other and can't find him as Prosinki takes him out, but that push from behind is taken out as well. And I was talking earlier about how hard this B objective is to push and why you almost want to take it out first, as RAG is getting a couple of members in the building, as maybe a couple of limpet charges and dynamite could be thrown out here, trying to get some people on. They've kind of went past the initial defensive of SRDS, but SRDS is able to get a few spawns. being taken out, however, as it looks like they're going for a plant. Not sure if they're going to get there in time to stop the plant. Does look like they are going to get it down, but not that many people on the side of RAG to come and protect it, as this will probably easily get defused.
Yeah, it does look like SRDS has practically their whole team on the defuse, as Rag tries to rally again to take the telegraph.
And back we go to the C point. It looks like Fiji. I think this is this is definitely not the place that SRDS wants to be in, but I think they need to have some confidence in the fact that they've been able to hold off of RAG from this final MCOM for the most part.
And I would say SRDS does have better positioning on the C flag than they did the previous couple attempts. They already have people here to meet up with Rag, whereas they were running in late the past couple times.
Michael getting a 3-piece with the BAR Storm, clearing out a majority of the RAG players in this bottom building along with Muhammad. They just cleaned house together like it was spring cleaning in the middle of March.
Yeah, and it definitely seems like SRDS has managed to get some good positions. You see a lot of close quarters engagements here where Dynamite and all these Hell Regals and Federals has their time to shine. But Rag is trying to go through the flank here and prevent SRDS from capturing and trying to get on the comeback here. And we'll see how effective that is.
It looks like that back flank was thwarted pretty easily. Anstar just, I'm not quite sure if he was bipoded with a ribeye roll, but whatever he was using, he was peppering everybody on that back flank there. Not really having to move at all. And it looks like with this capture, SRDS, they haven't captured it quite yet, but if they were to get it, they would have bought themselves a little bit of breathing room, maybe a little bit of time to regroup and see if they can make a push of their own all the way to RAG's MCOMs. It is possible, this being only a 3 capture point map, so anything is possible here. I think if SRDS gets enough momentum behind them, enough confidence to push all the way, that we could see a reverse here for sure.
And sorry about any drop frames right now. My internet is just not working at all. I'm having some trouble with it, so I'm trying to adjust the quality to make it so nothing drops. Even my computer seems to be taking a toll after multiple hours of Frontlines matches, so I can't even imagine how the players are feeling.
It's not easy for anybody. It's not easy for the casters. It's not easy for the players, and it's certainly not easy for the computers and PlayStations that have been probably heating up over the better part of an hour and a half. 2 hours even. This game was a 2 o'clock start in Eastern Standard Time, and it's just past 4 o'clock here.
Yeah, this is definitely one of the longer matches that I've seen played on Frontlines, and it seems like Rag has the better positioning here. SRDS has a couple people coming in the back flanks, and I think this is how they'll take advantage and win on this map.
RAG doing a very good job of kind of huddling SRDS into a corner, in a corner that they really don't want to be in, where they're kind of trapped, they can't really move. You see a 3-man squad down there, and Fopi is kind of beside himself, maybe waiting for people to come in. I don't know if he's waiting for some dynamite or he's just waiting out to get spawns, as he gets quickly found out and killed on the spot.
The longest stream that Tier 1 has had was 3.5 to 4 hours long, so we got a little bit of ways to go.
Yeah, a little bit of ways to go, and I might quit my job by that time. I don't know. If it's that long, I don't know. Just kidding, of course. Just kidding. But very long match. This match has been well worth the hype. These two teams, very, very strong, and a very, very interesting and entertaining match, to say the least.
Oh yeah, and SRDS is showing signs of life again. They're already mostly captured this B flag and starting to go in the other direction. So Rag is almost on their back foot. This will be another storyline with SRDS coming back from almost defeat to being lively again and pushing Rag back all the way back to their spawn.
Almost there, and they do get it. RAG is going back to their A point, and this, like C point, this map is just hard. I feel like I've said that a lot, but these teams have played some hard maps tonight. I don't think there is a map that you can look at it and consider it easy, and especially with the professionalism and high-level play that all the teams in Tier 1 offer. But I feel like this map in particular is just not an enjoyable one to play on, preferably, or mainly because it's night, it's hard to see, but everything is broken down. You can have people lying prone behind destroyed rubble or in houses or really anywhere. So, I mean, I personally am not a fan.
This map's definitely very interesting because of how many nooks and crannies there are, how many flanking routes there are. It's definitely it's a showcase of how versatile Frontlines can be, but it's very difficult as a player to know all the tricks that this map has to offer in all the spots, especially in a competitive setting. And as I say that, SRDS just got off a massive flank onto this flag and managed to wipe out everyone besides one person from Rag on this flag.
It's hard to say which team is the best one in EU because I do believe this is the first time that we've had a World Series qualifier in which teams from all over have been able to compete with one another. So, me personally, me and my team are new to this tournament, so I have not been here as long, so I cannot answer that question as well as others might. But I believe that this is the first time that we've been able to showcase some of these other teams in this Frontlines tournament. I'm waiting for somebody to correct me on this.
I do think they had a international event for Conquest, but this will definitely be the first Frontlines tournament, or the first international Frontlines tournament that we'll be participating in. It looks like Rag is pushing up onto the flag and almost thwarting SRDS's capture, but we'll have to see if these 1 or 2 players of Rag, if they'll go down and give SRDS a cap advantage and push them back to the Telegraph.
Maniac coming in from behind and getting a key 2-piece, clearing the rest of RAG off this point, and just as it's almost like I jinxed it, SRDS has come all the way back to RAG's MCOMs, and we're looking at another game here. And now RAG is on their heels and they need to protect their MCOMs.
It'll be interesting to see which Telegraph SRDS favors first. It looks like that they're all going towards this B Telegraph first in waiting to take that A Telegraph. And with 9 minutes left, there's plenty of time for the match to go anyway, but it does look like SRDS managed to mop up the entirety of Rag on this B objective.
SRDS getting a plant, and it doesn't look like RAG is anywhere in sight to disfuse this, although Bozo is going for a cheeky revive, or excuse me, a cheeky defuse, and he gets blown up immediately. Closest person to the flag is going behind, and he is taken out by Harassed.
And it looks like SRDS has this B Telegraph almost on lockdown, and they do have a plant on A as well that was thwarted by some TNT.
Oh, they almost had a plant. Tactico just dropped some dynamite down there, holding off this point almost by himself. I think it was 4 kills in total. SRDS is eventually going to get the plant on this, and although RAG is swirling around this objective now, reinforcements are coming in from SRDS, and oh, another 4-piece by Muhammad, and this might be taken by SRDS. They might have come all the way back to steal this game and force overtime.
And it looks like SRDS does have a couple players on the flag in close quarters, and Rag is on the back foot. Can they get the players in? It looks like they're a little bit far away. They did get squad wiped. Some clutch TNT could push them to kill all the players and get a defuse. And it does look like...
And SRDS is going to take map 3 in amazing fashion. Both games that me and Fiji have casted involving SRDS have had some amazing comeback of some sort. And I don't think you can ever count out SRDS. What a great team. What a great game. We are heading to overtime, and I believe the way that this is going to work is we are going to go back to Rupture and play it at halftime if possible. We'll be in communication with the teams momentarily.
Alright, so we're going to put on another quick Incursions little demo, and while we set up the overtime match.
It's super exciting that Battlefield is finally getting a competitive mode. It's been asked for a really long time. Something DICE has been working on with the community's feedback. Nobody's heard about it until now.
It starts with creating a game that the community loves.
It's super early in production, but we want to get out there to the players and bring them in as part of the development.
EA is listening closely to players in the creation of the game.
And watching through their eyes and seeing the way that they play the game, it's a really amazing experience. The team play that Battlefield 1 Incursions has generated has been nothing short of amazing.
It takes the teamwork of Battlefield and takes it to a whole new level.
5 people on one side, 5 on the other. Fast, strategic gameplay.
It's extremely important for the game to be just as much fun to watch as is to play.
And that starts with the changes that we've made to the scoring system.
What we get is a much more intense experience where every point matters.
But that's the point of the game, is to win. I can get a little competitive sometimes.
One of the unique aspects of Battlefield 1 Incursions is that we're allowing players to choose their kits before they actually get into gameplay.
So teamwork is really important here, and kit play is going to be one of the most important factors in this, which brings in something that we haven't seen in any other competitive game.
There's a lot of strategy with teammates, with more decision-making.
The intensity of the games. You don't know what's going to happen next. That's why I love Battlefield.
We can't have a Battlefield 1 competitive experience and not have vehicles.
I can tell you what, when they roll around the corner, it is scary.
That tank is not easy to take out. Vehicle play can change the outcome of a game.
There is no game that has that balance of infantry and vehicle play like Battlefield does.
The adrenaline rush, the feeling, it's an immersive environment that you just can't get enough of.
It's a lot of fun to play, and you get those Battlefield moments that are just breathtaking.
Anyone could have that heroic moment. Anyone could pull off a massive play to turn the game around. And that adrenaline feeling that you get is incredible.
I'm really looking forward to seeing this out in the wild.
Alright, so we are currently looking into what the specific rules are for the overtime aspect, or if it's going to be a draw between SRDS and RAG. So I'm just going to put on the "We'll Begin Shortly" scene for a little bit, and we'll give you an update as soon as we know.
Oh